The Articles of War: Discipline and Order in Nelson's Navy. The Articles of War were the foundation of the Royal Navy during Admiral Horatio Nelson's era. This legal code governed every sailor's life aboard ship, with a level of strictness that would make a modern sailor shudder. Discipline was essential to keeping a crew of hundreds in line, especially during extended voyages, far from home, where order and obedience were paramount for survival and success. While the Articles of War may seem rigid and unforgiving on paper, the stories of those who lived under them reveal the daily struggles, occasional absurdities, and unforgettable moments that characterized life at sea in the 18th and early 19th centuries. Key provisions of the Articles of War. The Articles of War touched every aspect of a sailor's life, ensuring that from the lowliest cabin boy to the highest-ranking officer, everyone adhered to strict rules of conduct. Among the most significant provisions were those dealing with mutiny, disobedience, cowardice, and neglect of duty. But it's in the anecdotes from sailors who experienced punishment under these articles that we truly understand their impact. Mutiny and the fear of rebellion, a commander's nightmare. Article 19, which dealt with mutiny, was the most feared and strictly enforced of all. The Royal Navy lived in constant dread of mutiny, an ever-present threat, especially in an era of harsh conditions and poor pay. Sailors, sometimes disillusioned by lack of shore leave, unfair treatment, or just plain hunger, could be driven to rebellion. One of the most famous anecdotes about mutiny came from a crewman aboard the HMS Hermione, a ship infamous for the bloodiest mutiny in British naval history. The captain, Hugh Piggott, was known for his viciousness, flogging men for the slightest of infractions. During one episode, Piggott ordered two men to be whipped for failing to reef the sails fast enough in a storm, ignoring the fact that the men were already injured. This petty cruelty drove the crew to murder Piggott and several of his officers, throwing their bodies overboard. For those sailors, it was either risk mutiny or face certain death from their captain's tyranny. But their rebellion came at a heavy price. When the ringleaders were caught, they faced swift justice under the Articles of War. The men were hanged from the yardarm, a sobering reminder to others that mutiny, no matter the provocation, would not go unpunished. The sting of disobedience, kissing the gunner's daughter. Article 4, which focused on disobedience, was often enforced with corporal punishment. One of the most dreaded forms of this punishment was flogging, especially when a sailor was forced to kiss the gunner's daughter. This phrase referred to being tied over a cannon, barebacked, while receiving lashes from the cat-o'-nine tails. A midshipman aboard HMS Victory recalled witnessing a young sailor being flogged for refusing a direct order from a lieutenant. The sailor, just 17, had only been at sea for a few months and had hesitated during a dangerous maneuver in the rigging. As punishment, he was tied to the cannon, his back exposed to the cold sea air, and flogged before the entire crew. The midshipman recounted how the boatswain administered each lash with measured precision. The sailor tried his best to remain silent, but by the 10th lash, he let out a pained cry. After the flogging, the ship surgeon was called to tend to the deep welts on the boy's back. It was a lesson the young man would never forget, and he became one of the most obedient sailors on board afterward. Cowardice and courage, a thin line at sea. Article 12, which dealt with cowardice in the face of the enemy, was an especially harsh regulation. The Royal Navy demanded absolute bravery during battle, and those who failed to do their duty were seen as betraying their comrades. During the Battle of Copenhagen in 1801, Admiral Nelson famously ignored orders to retreat, instead placing his telescope to his blind eye and saying, "I really do not see the signal." He continued to lead his fleet to victory. Nelson's bold disobedience of orders could have been deemed cowardice or neglect of duty, had it not been for the outcome. His daring maneuver earned him widespread respect, but his actions demonstrated the fine line between bravery and insubordination. In stark contrast, one story passed down from an officer aboard HMS Temeraire involved a seaman who, during the heat of battle, cowered below deck. When his fellow sailors discovered his cowardice, they reported him to the captain, and under the Articles of War, the man was court-martialed. While his life was spared, he was branded a coward and shunned by the crew, living the rest of his days in shame. Neglect of duty and drunkenness. The price of a cup of grog. Article 22 punished neglect of duty, which could range from falling asleep on watch to failing to properly maintain the ship's equipment. One particularly humorous story from a sailor aboard the HMS Bellerophon involved a man named Tom, who was found sleeping while on duty. When questioned by the officer, Tom replied that he hadn't meant to fall asleep, but had only closed his eyes for a quick nap. Tom's excuse earned him 6 lashes, but the crew couldn't help but laugh at his unfortunate situation, and the incident became a running joke aboard the ship. The story of Tom's quick nap would be told for years, even after the war, a reminder of the sometimes harsh punishments for seemingly minor offenses. Drunkenness, addressed in Article 35, was a more serious offense, especially when it interfered with duty. Grog was a daily ration for sailors, but some men couldn't handle their drink. One sailor aboard the HMS Leviathan was so intoxicated during his watch that he attempted to steer the ship with a mop, completely ignoring the actual helm. Needless to say, he was caught and flogged the next morning, and his drunken misadventure became infamous among the fleet. Steering with a mop became shorthand for acting foolishly while drunk, a lesson to all about the dangers of overindulgence at sea. Flogging Day, a naval ritual of pain and discipline. Flogging was not a rare occurrence in Nelson's Navy. It was a regular, almost ritualistic event. Every sailor knew that at any moment, he could be called to face the dreaded cat o' nine tails. One veteran sailor described how Flogging Day was announced by the beat of a drum. The entire crew would be mustered on deck, standing in rigid silence as the offender was brought forward. I remember the silence was thick, like the calm before a storm, one sailor recalled. You could hear the creak of the ship, the slap of the waves against the hull, but not a whisper from the men. The offender would be stripped to the waist, his wrists lashed to the rigging or a cannon, and the boatswain's mate would carry out the punishment. Afterward, the man's back would be a bloodied mess, and he would be carried below deck for medical treatment. Yet, as brutal as it was, the men accepted it as part of naval life. They saw flogging as necessary to keep discipline, though they dreaded being on the receiving end. Legacy of the Articles of War. The Articles of War, though harsh, were seen as essential for maintaining order in an environment where chaos could easily reign. Sailors may have grumbled about the floggings, the strict adherence to duty, and the omnipresent threat of punishment, but they understood that these regulations kept the ship functioning. Without discipline, life at sea, already fraught with danger, would be even more perilous. Even Nelson, known for his humanity and concern for his men, enforced the articles with rigor. However, it was his balance of discipline and compassion that endeared him to his sailors. As one seaman from HMS Victory once said, "He'd as soon shake your hand as flog you, so long as you did your duty." The Royal Navy's reliance on the Articles of War, while at times severe, helped it maintain its position as the dominant naval force during Nelson's era. These anecdotes and reminiscences offer a glimpse into the daily realities of life aboard a man of war, where courage, discipline, and a bit of humor were all part of surviving the unforgiving seas. Polyspeaks for You incorporates voice control features that allow users to perform essential actions like opening, saving, and creating new documents, as well as interacting with font and document editing dialogues. This is particularly helpful for individuals with disabilities, enabling hands-free operation and more accessible content management. Below are some of the voice control functionalities designed for ease of use. 1. Voice-commanded document handling. Open document. Users can say commands like open document, followed by the file name or location, and Poly will open the document for them. Save document. Commands like save document as or save allow the user to save their work without needing to manually click on buttons. Poly can also handle saving with specific file names or locations as dictated. A new document. A simple voice command such as create new document or start new file will initiate a fresh document in the app. A closed document. Commands like close document or exit can be used to close the current document. 2. Font dialog voice controls. Font style. Users can control font settings by saying change font to Arial or set font at Times New Roman. This would change the selected text's font style. A font size, commands like increase font size or decrease font size adjust the text size according to user preferences. A font color, users can use commands such as set font color to red or change font to blue to personalize the text color. 3. Voice-commanded document editing. A text formatting, commands like bold text, italicized text, underline text, or strikeout text allow users to edit their document easily. For example, saying bold this text will apply bold formatting to the selected text. Alignment. Users can command alignment changes by saying align left, align center, or align right. A text insertion. A user can say insert text, and the software will insert the given text at the current cursor position. A text navigation. Commands such as go to the top, scroll down, or move to the next paragraph enable users to navigate the document without the need for a mouse or keyboard. 4. Voice-activated help and assistance. Help commands. Users can ask questions like, "What can I do?" or "Help me with saving" to receive guidance on specific tasks. Poly can offer step-by-step instructions based on voice queries. A undo/redo. Voice commands such as undo or redo let users correct mistakes or revert to previous actions in their document. 5. Advanced features for accessibility. Speech recognition training. For improved accuracy, Poly can guide users through the Windows speech recognition training process, adapting to their voice patterns and improving dictation accuracy. A text-to-speech for editing. Users can have text read aloud to them while editing, making it easier to spot errors and refine their documents. These voice-controlled features make Poly Speaks for You an accessible tool for individuals with disabilities, particularly those with visual impairments, mobility issues, or other conditions that limit their ability to use traditional input devices. The hands-free operation helps users maintain independence and improve their document management and editing experience. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to stay updated with more content. The creator of Poly Speaks for You has always been driven by a passion for giving a voice to those who need it most. Whether it's through text-to-speech technology or voice recognition, the goal has always been to create tools that help individuals, especially those with disabilities or learning challenges, communicate and interact with the world in a way that is meaningful and empowering. The stories shared, such as those about the sailors aboard the HMS Victory, are not just about reliving history, they are about the power of voice. Through Poly Speaks for You, the creator saw an opportunity to use storytelling as a medium to convey courage, strength, and resilience, much like the sailors of the past. These stories are intended to inspire and engage users, reminding them of the importance of their voices, both literally and metaphorically. The idea behind these stories is to showcase how technology, particularly speech technology, can be a tool for preserving history, while also empowering users with the capability to share their own narratives. By blending history with technology, the creator of Poly Speaks for You aims to demonstrate how powerful a voice can be in shaping and sharing our world, past and present. In a sense, these stories represent more than just entertainment. They are a way for the creator to give a voice to history, to connect with users in a deeply human way, and to remind them that their voices matter, whether they are telling their own stories or those of others. The creator's work in developing Poly Speaks for You is never just about making a functional tool. It was about making sure that every voice had the power to be heard. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to stay updated with more content. This content has been adapted from the powerful features of Poly Speaks for You, South Africa's leading accessibility software. Learn more at www.polyspeaksforyou.co.za. We invite you to support this meaningful dyslexic initiative, crafted and developed by an individual who personally understands the challenges of dyslexia.